It's a Jubilee Year of Mercy. But here's some questions, like what are we supposed to do? What does that even mean? First thing, it's called the Jubilee Year. Now, in the Old Testament, of course, we have the Sabbath, right? This is the seventh day. That's the day of rest. It's the day we're supposed to set aside and enter into rest. Now, there's also a thing called the Sabbath year. The seventh year was meant to enter into that rest in a unique way for that year. But there's also a thing called the Jubilee year. After 7 sets of 7 years, the year after that, the 50th year, was called the Year of Jubilee. During the Year of Jubilee, what would happen is if you had any debts, they were forgiven. If you had any slaves, they were set free. Every kind of bondage that someone would experience in the Jubilee year, that bondage was broken. They were set free. It was a Jubilee year. Now, Pope Francis declared this to be the Jubilee Year of Mercy. I think it was Cardinal Pell, he's a bishop in Australia, who was once asked, what's the mission of the church? Why does the church exist? And he said, the church exists to bring God's mercy to the world. The reality, of course, is that that's not necessarily what we're known for as Catholic Christians. We're not necessarily known to bring God's mercy to the world. So Pope Francis said this, if that's the mission of the church, that's the reason the church exists, to bring God's mercy to the world, then let's become missionaries of mercy. Because a lot of times we think this, right? We think, well, yeah, the mission of the church is to bring God's mercy to the world. That's the bishop, and that's the pope, and that's the priest, and that's religious sisters, religious brothers. But we're the church. Those who've been incorporated into Christ's body through baptism, like we're the church. That means that if the mission of the church is to bring God's mercy to the world, that means your mission is to bring God's mercy to the world. Missionary disciples of mercy. You say, okay, well, how do I do this? Well, here, because it sounds like, how do I bring God's mercy to the world? I can't even bring God's mercy to my dinner table. Well, that's where we start. Here's 3 things that all of us need to do if we're actually going to be missionaries of mercy. Number 1, we need to take other people seriously. Here's what I mean by that. So often, don't we find ourselves so often in the course of our daily lives simply preoccupied with ourselves that we're with our devices, we're with our phones. Ever find yourself doing this? You're talking to someone else, but you're listening, but you're almost just waiting for them to stop so you can say your thing. The first step in being a missionary of mercy, in this year of mercy, taking other people seriously. Basically seeing, are there any issues in their life? Are there any issues going on in their heart right now that I can help with? That's the second thing. First, taking other people seriously. Secondly, taking other people's suffering personally. In a global world, that sounds so impossible. But here's what mercy really is. St. Thomas Aquinas defined mercy as this. He said, mercy is taking another person's misery as one's own. Third thing, do what you can, not what you can't. This is like just one of those golden rules, I think, just that we can apply to every element of every aspect of our life. Do what you can, not what you can't. Basing itself off the scriptures, the church has given us these things called the corporal and the spiritual works of mercy. Because mercy isn't just this feeling of like, oh, I gotta feel merciful right now. Like, the mercy is actions. So the corporal works of mercy are things like giving drink to those who are thirsty, giving clothing to those who are naked, giving shelter to those without shelter. The spiritual works of mercy are things like instructing the ignorant, praying for the living and the dead, being willing to forgive offenses willingly. All these kinds of elements are corporal and spiritual works of mercy. They're things we can do. So don't be preoccupied with what you can't do. Just do what you can, not what you can't. And this is the last thing. Where do we go though? I have a friend, he often says this. He says, I'm convinced that when Jesus told us to love our neighbor, yeah, he probably meant everyone. But he also probably meant our literal neighbor, like the person who lives in the house next door to us. That all of this, being a missionary of mercy, this year of mercy, this Jubilee Year of Mercy, it has to start where I live. It has to start where I live, in my own home, with my own family, in my own job, at my own school, with the people that I work with. If I'm going to be a missionary of mercy, I need to start being a missionary of mercy right where I live. This is just the beginning of an entire year of mercy. We're going to be talking about all the other elements that go into this year of mercy, but this is our start. Taking other people seriously, taking their sufferings personally, and doing what we can in the acts, corporal and spiritual works of mercy.